11. Friends don't lie.
Stop it! You're freaking her out!
She's freaking me out! The upside down.
Do you understand what he's talking about?
No. I found the chocolate bunny!
Oh God, please tell me it's not the kid.
I need you to hide!
Mornings are for coffee and contemplation.
Holy shit.
Welcome back. My name is Chris.
I'm Andy.
I'm Steve.
And Sam.
And Sam. This is Streaming Things, the Stranger Things podcast. We have just seen Chapter 3. We're ready to chat about it. We're very tired because we've been doing this all day, and I ate about 13 slices of pizza after 2 bagels.
Food coma.
And a Britney bitch.
It's a long story, but I ate a Britney bitch. Apparently there's a pastry called a Brittany, and I kept saying Brittany bitch
It's
when we were
Brittany
buying them, and the clerk did not appreciate that. Or wasn't able to, at least. I feel like she secretly did.
We only have one rule here in this Panera, sir.
We don't say bitch.
No swear words.
We need to use Panera-friendly language.
Yes.
We like Christina here.
Those were the words they use. We're supposed to use Panera-friendly language. Apparently, Panera is owned by Ted.
Oh, that's why I don't like Panera.
Hey, I like Panera.
So this will be the end. Well, I guess the way that we're planning on releasing this, you won't know this, but here's how it really went down. We recorded all these at once, and then we stopped right now because Steve's going to like Spain or some shit. Where are you going?
Alabama with Sam.
I wish we were going to Spain.
Yeah, if we were going to Spain, it'd be so much better.
But no, really, we're going to Alabama. which
Alabama.
I don't think anyone lives in anymore.
It's pronounced Bama. So
We're
yeah,
going to Alabama.
Steve will be out of town, and then we'll continue the other 5 episodes in rapid succession when he returns. So this is Chapter 3, The Case of the Missing Lifeguard. With Elle and Max looking for Billy, Will declares a day without girls. Steve and Dustin go on a stakeout, and Joyce and Hopper return to Hawkins' lab. And Billy calls dibs on skins, as usual. I really like this episode. I felt like things are finally getting stranger, guys.
Uh-huh.
You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying?
I
Plot's
hear you.
picking up. I'm
3-ear.
fully engaged, ready to go. Much 3-ear.
It's
Andy.
harder to say.
It is. It's harder. It's not as good as 2-ear.
Yeah.
What were you about to say, Sam?
No, my very first thought in this episode was, poor Will. And that carried on throughout the entire episode.
They should just rename most of these episodes to Poor Will.
Yeah. So Elle and Max, 11, that's how the show opens. And 11 says...
Her name is not 11 anymore. Has anyone called her
Elle.
11?
Well, now
yet?
she's a human.
Elle.
She's fully human now.
It's strange that... well, I guess it's not strange because we're so used to calling her 11. So Elle is obviously a name that you can give her.
Right.
But it's strange how last season they made such a point of like, no, her name's Jane.
I was about to mention that. Yeah, she called it... Even when she was in Chicago, she introduced herself as Jane. And they just dropped that whole thing.
And now she's just hard L.
Which I'm glad, because I didn't like it. So Max and 11 are, having more girl
Too
time.
plain Jane.
Yeah. Jane Doe. That's why I liked it. That's why they chose that, I think. But...
Oh, wasn't Jane Fonda?
So Max asks her if Mike's a good kisser, and Elle says, I don't know, he's my first boyfriend, which of course she doesn't because she's never been kissed by anyone else. But I didn't like the implication there that she plans on having more boyfriends.
The first of many
I
to
did.
come.
Because her
It's fuck Mike.
ex-boyfriend is a cunt. Yes, exactly.
He's a cunt.
I love the way she said it, though. It was so innocent. Like, oh, I don't know. I don't know if you know this, but he's my first boyfriend.
Oh, you didn't date anyone in the lab?
I may seem like I put out,
But I don't. And then she uses her powers for teenage evil, which I really enjoyed. They're talking about the boys and what are they doing? And then 11's like, oh, yeah, I'm a psychic spy, so let's find out. And I was like, holy shit, that's terrifying. Talk about deleting your browser history. Like, there is nothing you can do with 11.
All those times she like jerked off in private, like somebody's gonna come. You know what I mean? Like that could have gone so poorly.
Yeah, she's got to be real careful. Well, especially like that, they alluded to that when she wants to spy on Billy later, and Max is like, "So, just get right back out if there's some weird stuff, okay?" Like 80% chance here. One of my favorite scenes of the show, when they're spying on the boys, and then Mike burps, and Lucas tops that with a
Big old fart.
just
Dude, he hiked up the leg and everything. He made it.
horrendous fart.
Meanwhile, Will's like, I just want to play Dungeons and Dragons. Y'all are eating Doritos and farting.
Which is like we do, us boys. Hop comes home drunk, storms into the room thinking he's going to find Mike making out with 11. But nay, just two innocent girls sitting there, whatever they're doing, writing in their notebooks or something, it looked like. Reading a magazine, maybe.
Yeah, reading.
What do girls do at sleepover, Sam?
Talk shit.
Psychically spy on boys.
I thought Max was very brazen in that scene because
Yeah,
Hopper
she was.
busts in and Max like, "Fuck are you doing here?
That's how
Can
she'd
I
be,
help
though.
you?"
He's drunk and has a gun.
I'm really glad it went that way because I was terrified at first that we were going to have some kind of like character assassinating, like violently drunk Hopper moment, which would make him like a terrible surrogate father.
Yeah.
If he's just going to storm home drunk and be abusive.
Instead, it turns it around. He came home so angry and hurt, and
Yeah.
then he was so happy to see his daughter being
He's
normal.
like,
She had a
"Oh,
friend."
Sweet, right.
She had a friend.
That was a great turn of scene there.
It was-
subverting expectations, Andrew.
I don't know how you guys felt about this because he does close the door and he smiles like, "Oh, my girl's got a friend," but then he almost kind of like felt like a little kid himself. He's like, "I'm gonna kick off my shoes and I'm gonna watch TV that has naughty words in it."
Yeah. Well, it's like it's the first time he can really relax because elsewise he's typically just trying to focus on what they're doing in there. So yeah, it must be tough to be a father of daughters. I have a little boy, so I don't know.
He also
I don't
said
know that pain.
Elle and Mike have hung out for 6 months straight every day. So I mean, that's a lot.
That's awful.
A lot of babysitting.
Yeah, he was unhinged as we saw at the beginning of the season, right?
I don't think I've seen Sam for 6 months straight. Like every day for 6 months. I'm sure there was at least a couple days where we didn't see each other.
You don't need to.
Yeah, exactly.
It would be too much.
I know.
I'd like to see you every day, Steve.
Well,
You can do that.
Me too.
come on over, guys.
That's fine.
So then the girls play what I like to call psionic spin the bottle. Except
Yeah, I didn't know what they
Trademark.
were doing at first because I noticed the spin the bottle. Like, are they going to talk about like, ooh, is Mr. Wheeler a good kisser?
I know, that's what I thought too.
Like, ew, that's kind of. Why is Mr. Wheeler on your fucking board? Fucking Ted, what's he doing on
I know,
there?
and they land on him, and you're like, nah, it's too boring.
Yeah, he's
Like,
They know how much everybody hates him.
why did they even make a piece for Ted if that's going to be the response?
Because that was going to be like the
Like
bad,
the dud landing?
The dud landing.
Elle probably like wrote his name down just so she could talk shit about him. Like, oh, what a loser! I don't even know why we put him on here. He's such a
I'm
loser.
calling it now. He's going to be a hero by the end of this season.
That's a bold prediction.
We haven't. We've only had 1 second scene with him.
I'm just saying.
And it was him passed out on the couch
think
with
he's-
his child trying to climb into his lap.
No,
for
we've had
attention.
two.
We've had two
One
now.
of which was
He was
him mowing the fucking grass in the rain
In the goddamn rain, like an
see.
idiot.
with a rain
That-
jacket and a
that-
hat.
That just shows how unmemorable he is.
He's an inept. He's the opposite of the Deaf Duffers.
God damn it, Karen! You had an option.
He's going to be newbie 2.0.
Poor Karen.
Just saying.
So then they decide to spy on Billy. Grave mistake, but not for the reasons Max fears, right? So Billy is in the process of,
What was Max worried about?
that he'd be like
Getting down.
banging chicks, which Max appears to know a bit about because she's on the cusp of
Yeah.
explaining an orgasm to 11 later, I think, and then
Yeah.
decides not to.
I don't think she fully understands it, but she understands better than like, are you guys wrestling?
Right. Quit tickling each other in there.
Wow.
Why are you doing naked tickling again, Billy?
There's a lot of like good screaming going on in there.
Well, at first it seemed she was ignorant of that, and she just called it good screaming, which I thought was a little unrealistic. But this is in an age before the internet, so maybe a 14-year-old's an actual 14-year-old in the 80s.
But it is the age of the cosmopolitan because then she's
Instead
like,
of-
I'll give you my mom's cosmopolitan.
I know,
Or
it's
Cosmo.
So,
Cosmo, is
it
that what
made
it's
me
called?
so sad. Like, it's just two actual people riding bikes around the neighborhood, and they're kids, and they're like, yeah, good screaming, and like they're figuring things out at a healthy level. Fast forward to Andy and I at 11, like he put his whole head in there, and then the dog came, and it's just like awful things for
What
kids.
were you guys watching?
It's Kazaa, man. I don't know.
Kazaa.
Just whatever downloaded.
I was knee deep in bear share downloads.
So anyway, yeah, put
share.
Ted mowing in the rain there. So she caught Billy, I guess, torturing Heather, the young lifeguard, helping to possess her or whatever the fuck that we're going to find out is fully going on later. But they're all little agents of the Thessalhydra. We know that for sure. And Billy seems to actually be the Thessalhydra incarnate. But we'll see it later. We'll talk about that later. But that's the final scene of this episode. That's what led me to believe that. Cut back to Will finally successfully sort of convincing them to play D&D. He's all dressed up as Will the Wise, and he wakes up, Lucas and Mike and says, we're going to play D&D. And they begrudgingly engage in that with him, and he's so desperate. It's so sad.
He pulled a Walter White in that, though, too. He's like, say my name.
Cut to
Goddamn right.
Will's going to start selling meth.
Heisenberg.
Sort of. We'll get to it later. I think so. Not someone meth, but you know what I mean. Hop is hungover. I get it. I got a thread for you. Hop is hungover. We cut to that. He's in the shower. He's chugging milk, which is a terrible hangover cure.
Yeah,
is it
dude.
not?
Make you puke.
That never occurred to me. Anytime I've been hungover, I've never thought, get me that 2%.
Yes.
Put it in me.
Everybody knows that it's juice and weed.
orange
That
juice.
helps. So Joyce tries to explain the magnet issue to Hopper, but he's too jealous to listen. And he finds out that she was with Scott, which did anyone here know that Mr. Clark's name was Scott?
No, that was one of the, 2 exclamation points on my notes. Scott Clark?
He does look like a Scott, but I don't like it. He's always going to be Mr. Clark to me. Was he her science teacher? Is that what Hop implied?
No, he said your boy's science teacher.
I was like, Clark doesn't seem that old. I don't like that at all.
You see, Mr. Clark is like a mortal being that just lives in Hawkins and gives knowledge.
He founded Hawkins.
He's like the Paul Rudd of Hawkins.
Yeah.
Just dead in age.
Hop didn't put on deodorant. I don't know if anyone else noticed.
And he was like sweaty too, like hungover sweaty. I just got out of
He
the
was
shower.
still wet from the shower, but he didn't put on deodorant when he got fully dressed. So I'm just saying that's fucked up. 11 and Max, we cut to them investigating further about Billy. And Max is kind of like, Billy's weird. I think he was just doing some weird stuff that he does. And 11's like, no, like seriously, like, pretty sure it's not the Cosmo stuff. Does Billy have his own house now? Is that the impression that I got? I'm confused.
I didn't think so.
No, I think that was his old room, I think. From the
Right,
first
but
season.
then like they go into the bathroom and the bathtub's filled with ice bags and like there's blood on it's a public bathroom, wasn't it? Or was it like a...
Well, like for the family, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah,
a family bathroom,
I would
yeah.
assume so.
Like
Maybe
nobody else took a shower and like...
But see, Max was over at Elle's, and we really don't see their parents. They're never home. So.
Yeah, we've only seen their parents that one episode where
He was
his
super
dad,
abusive.
like abused him. Yeah,
Right. So it just seems... I don't know. I just thought it was strange unless that's his own bathroom that's only connects to his room. Because,
Also,
I don't know. It's a nitpick, but it's like... You know what I mean?
Weird childhood 80s thing. Were you guys brazen enough to just write a note to your parent, like, gone to Max's house for a sleepover, bye?
No.
I would never do that. Oh my God, my mom would whip me.
Your mom would call the military
My mom-
to go search and destroy for you.
Growing up, so, obviously we live in a neighborhood. I had neighborhood friends. I would go to their house and play during the day.
Sure.
My mom had a fucking like a farm bell, like a farmer's bell that she would just ring. And if I was anywhere, I could hear that bell. And if I heard it, that meant I had to get my ass home. It was time to go home. And if I didn't come home within like 15 minutes, ooh.
The thunder.
Can you tell us what an incident when that occurred?
Well, the one that sticks out in my mind is I was at
When she broke your Legos?
Oh, well, that has nothing to do with the bell. No, there was one. She's referring to an instance where my mom killed my childhood in front of me.
Oh my God.
I had like a lot of like Star Wars Legos, so I built all these Legos, and I had a lot of them, and I would proudly display them on my dressers and whatnot. And I think my mom wanted me to clean my room for some reason, and I just, I was being a kid, I was dragging my feet, and I was really getting into it, and she like flipped a gasket and went upstairs, and one by one was like making dead eye contact with me, like, this is what happens when you don't clean your room. And she's like, knocks one by one, goes down the line and just knocking them off the dresser, and they're just shattering. And I don't fucking have those directions anymore.
Right. Yeah,
so I'm
that's
like,
done.
what are you doing? And she's like, fuck you, and stomps on them a couple times. And like, it was very traumatic for me.
Damn.
And to this day, and you know, I say this, but my mom like immediately afterwards like felt like a complete prick.
Yeah.
And like to this day, if I even bring it up to her jokingly, she starts crying.
I think that was my least proud moment.
Yeah, I still have a big tub of, I still have all those Legos
All the
like
shards.
in a giant tub where it's just all of them just broken.
Are they at your mom's house?
Yeah, they're at my mom's house.
You should sneak in and put duct tape on it and label it "Shards of My Childhood."
That you broke.
Parentheses, mom.
What were we talking? Oh, so yeah, I just got a weird, like, where the fuck are the parents? Like, what's going on? Billy seems to be real free about leaving the blood everywhere. This is gonna, you know, we're not blowing this wide open. This is gonna be discovered by just about anybody who takes a shit in this bathroom a little bit later.
What was the deal with the ice?
I don't know yet.
Yeah.
Okay.
Actually,
no
though,
idea.
ooh, is that like a writing down an ego?
I was going to be like, you want to talk out your feelings?
You guys forgot what a huge Jean-Claude Van Damme fan I am. So we'll talk about it. We'll just
You were famously a JCVD fan.
plant a flag there. So 11 finds the bloody whistle of Heather, which sounds like a weird item from Skyrim or something.
The bloody whistle. +3 charisma.
Nancy proceeds.
0.1 weight.
Nancy proceeds with her rat story, and the whole office of newspaper chauvinists laugh her out of the room. Sam,
They're landing on thick with the 80s
I was
office
going to ask,
sexism, aren't they?
Yeah, I was going to see how Sam felt about that, though, because I don't want to be a dick and say, you know, hey, they're landing on thick, and at the same time have not experienced what it's like to
Sure.
be a woman in the workplace. And, you know, what? Hey,
Sam, what was it
it's
like in
pretty
the 80s?
thick, buddy. But yeah, they're really leaning into that. Like, they're just cartoonishly like, you got titties. Get your little titties out of here. It's like, I don't feel like that's how it was, but
No, I think it also is laying it on really thick.
okay.
No, I get the same feeling. So I'm just like, oh, okay. Why don't you even try, Nancy?
Because I feel like they just wouldn't even work there if it was like that, you know? Hey,
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Everybody who doesn't have a dick can just fuck right off. You know, like,
High five.
Nancy,
not going in there
you have
anymore.
more self-respect than that.
Right.
Like, just GTFO.
Like at this
Go
point,
get a typewriter.
At this point, I'm
Spread
wondering,
your
like,
wings.
are they doing a journalism there? Like, what are they doing at this job?
All they do is just sit around.
Like literally,
And
like
make
Busey's kid is just sitting
titty
with his
jokes.
legs hiked up on the desk, and his fat little mustache friend is like sitting on the cabinet across from him at all times.
He's like the dude with Jabba. Just
Yeah, it's just a salacious crumb.
Ew, and when he was like laughing, he was doing a full body jiggle. It made me really creeped out.
The old full body jiggle. The jiggle giggle.
the full
Like, I can't
Busey.
imagine. I can't imagine somebody, and I'm sure, like, I know sexism existed, but like the way they're portraying these guys to me is very not realistic. Just because, like, I don't understand how anyone can like be a journalist and be like, "What's the story, loser, dirt dweeb?" Like, I don't. It's too jock bro for me for a journalist.
I mean, I'm excited for the payoff. I'm sure that they will get their comeuppance and that Nancy will reign supreme, and that'll be satisfying. But it's a little too much, a little too obvious. And then we cut back to the mall, and Lucas's little sister is such a little ice cream hustler.
She is a little hooker with her little hooker gang. Like, just trying to get all the free ice cream. Like, bitch, get the fuck out.
And they finally shut her down. Like, I think you're abusing our policy.
I used to work at a candy store in the mall, and our policy was to give out free samples of chocolate to anybody who entered the store. And there were people that we knew by name who would just come in and try to hustle more. Like, they never fucking bought anything. Sam's one of them. They would never buy anything. But we always knew, like, oh my God, it's that one dude who lives in the mall. What do you want, dude? Patrick was his name.
Shout out to Patrick.
This 45-year-old dude who lived with his parents still and just lived in the mall for some reason. I don't know why. He'd always come in and be like, oh, is so-and-so in? Because if Stacy, my boss, if she was working, he wouldn't come in because Stacy would like grab a broom and like chase him out like, get out of here, Patrick. But if it was anybody else, he'd be like, oh, what's the sample today? Oh,
my God, your life is a sitcom.
Get out. Oh, Stacy's back.
And yes, anyway, she's trying to get samples. Steve is practicing spycraft, and Robin seems like a little turned on and proud of that fact. That's what I saw. Because the camera zoomed in, the music changed, and she's like, practicing spycraft.
Oh.
And then it cut to Steve.
Oh, and Lucas's sister asked where he's at. Where's the sailor boy?
Yeah. Oh, he's busy, little bitch.
Spy.
Doing real shit. Anyway, so then Dustin mentions the obvious that Robin is a good choice for him to date, or at least attempt to. Mm-hmm. And Steve, rebels against that fact and says,
and was
I teach you
true
shit.
old school Steve again.
Mm-hmm.
She's not my type.
Got his old confidence back.
What do you mean, your type? Not awesome?
Yeah. But
we did find out that Robin is still in high school. So that kind of, because we were talking about like, well, why isn't Robin in college? It's because she's still in high school.
She's a future genius to travel away from Hawkins. Steve, you better lock it down now. Then we cut back to the boys.
Put a ring on it.
Just as Beyonce said. They play D&D, but they're not engaged in it. Only Will is, right? They've grown past being into it. It's very sad. So Will freaks the fuck out, finally, stands up for himself. And he's like, this is bullshit. This is such a bad note. So let's stop it there. This is a thread that this is what hooked me into the show, and like where I started to fully identify with it, because Will's story now seems to be rebelling against the loss of innocence, right? Sure. So he's obviously emotionally stunted because of his whole experience through the past 2 seasons compared to the other boys. But it also made me think, especially when he's in Castle Byers a few scenes later and he eventually destroys it, he's looking at all the photos and we're all wrapped into his feelings because we're experiencing the nostalgia of the show as well as what he's experiencing as like, my life is changing irrevocably, right? Mm-hmm. And then I got sad because like it'll never be that. Like I still do a lot of childish shit, right? So you don't stop playing because you grow old. You grow old because you stop playing, kind of thing. So I'm really immature, but at the same time, like I'll never just sit in Andy's basement and play a video game for like 16 hours. You know what I mean? Like today, recording the show is the closest I've been to that in a while. Just eating a bunch of garbage and watching TV, laying around with friends, right? So. And that is sad that just like inevitable things sex begins to complicate your life and It will never be the same. Like just transforms it completely.
Did you catch a hint at maybe Will being gay?
That's what I put. That's why I started laughing and stopped because I put gay ? And it's not that that's funny. It's just as a note.
No, it was
funny.
How betrayed he looked when Mike said it's not our fault that you don't like girls.
Right.
The look that he gave was a, oh my God, kind of look.
Yeah.
And so I thought that was really interesting.
And I think that would be neat and necessary for one of the 4 to have something that's not just like, cis straight white male, except for Lucas is black. I get it. But you know what I'm saying? But yeah, I got that vibe too. And then I kind of like thought about it. Like, am I looking too far into it? Just because he's not into girls yet is what he meant. I don't know. Did you guys catch the gayness?
Yeah, no. I thought it. And then I'm like, no. Again, it's like maybe too on the nose.
Yeah.
It was very pointed the way the line was read, because I actually felt the same way. I'm like, oh, are they saying that Will is gay? And then I would think, well, maybe. And then I kind of
do the same.
I did the whole rigmarole. Like,
yeah.
Is that what they're saying, or are they just saying that like it's his loss of innocence and he's not there yet, so he's rebelling against them? And are they kind of more leaning into the whole? Because then they go into Mike saying, "What did you think? We're just going to stay in my basement forever?"
Right.
And he was like, "Yeah, I did." And so I don't know. I'd be very interested to see them take it into that direction.
Mm-hmm. I would too, but I also think from a historical standpoint, how interesting that would be, because it's awkward enough to be yourself and be honest, but to be different. But then, like, before it was really 80s, it wasn't very acceptable, right? So
No, not at all.
Not at all. AIDS
amongst
blood.
your
was
friends, yeah.
The AIDS scare thing, I mean, obviously it's not going to be a part of the show, but that's happening right now in the time.
Yeah.
Our good friend Ronald Reagan, that was featured in an Ego last episode, not a big LGBT person.
No. Well, poor Will in more ways than one. You know, always left out there, Will. So the death of pure childhood is what I said there, equals Will in the rain. And there was this moment, and I thought it was just a wonderful moment. It just Will, like, this is awful. And then the pouring down rain. And you know what I mean? Like, where Will finally realizes this is fucking dead. You know what I mean? Like, whatever, not that it's necessarily bad, but whatever life was is over, and that in itself is sad. And I've experienced that, and I just appreciated it. You know what I mean? So then we cut to douchebag lifeguard. Whoever manages the lifeguards there is, he just was comically obtuse to the girls.
That guy looks like a Scott.
Yeah, for sure. Or like a Brent or a Brett.
I was a
Or
lifeguard,
Chad.
and I worked for Scott Chad. You know what I mean? Like, that's a
Wait,
thing.
you worked for someone named Scott Chad?
Yeah, that was exactly his name.
I can just see the popped collar on that person.
Yeah, he was just like willfully obtuse. I don't know. So you thought that was realistic?
Oh yeah, very much so. They don't give a shit. You know, like, you look up to them because you think they're old, and the reality is they're like 17.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or 18.
Yeah.
It's like they were a kid too.
Isn't it funny to think about when you're young, looking at 17-year-olds, like, wow, look how old they are. They have facial hair.
They know so much about life.
They got like two little pieces coming out of their chin.
But then when you look at 17-year-olds now, you're like, really? That was what I thought what adulthood looked like? Okay.
Or I can remember even worse being like 17 and like having house parties. And you guys know I'm alcoholic, so they were like pretty bad house parties. But at the time is whatever. So everybody's like doing drugs and drinking. And then like the one like 28-year-old that's buying everybody the booze. And you're like, dude, that dude's fucking badass. You know what I mean? He's just like bald already. So balding, so he bics it now. And he's just hanging out with all these like 16-year-old girls passing the joint. And you're like, dude, yeah.
Dude's cool.
Raul's
That's
that
who
shit,
I'm
man.
gonna be.
Yeah. And now when I'm 30, I'm like, wow, he's a real piece of creepy shit, that guy. Whoa. What the fuck? Anyway, Max and 11 are hot on the trail of Heather. And she takes the picture off the board, and she was going to go use her psionic power. I keep calling it that because Murray or whatever from the fucking...
She uses the in-between.
Yeah.
Remember we used to call that the in-between?
Oh, we're geniuses. That's what it is.
that is good.
The space between the upside down and the right side up is the in-between, Sam. Catch up.
The space between spaces.
With the inside out.
Joyce, so we have
She's like, nerds.
Great input.
so we have dual sequences of Joyce and Hopper searching the old Hawkins laboratory, and Max and 11 searching for Heather, which I thought was neat. And then we match cut from the Joyce and Hop search to the binoculars of Steve and Dustin and Robin, which I thought was a good little match cut.
Yeah, match cut from the lens and the security camera in Hawkins'
into
lab
the
to the
binoculars.
binocular.
That was very good. I put note of that. So we got
So-
3 little search parties going on.
Back to Hawkins Labs for a second. Did that Russian dude just show up to beat up Hopper and leave? Like,
I don't know. I couldn't see. So Hopper definitely was not on like draped over the back of that motorcycle, right?
no.
Right, he
No.
was on the
Yeah.
ground.
So he's just, that is weird.
I think-
unless he was there to like dispense of evidence or
That room they were in was like an office-y room, and it looked like there was some cabinets or something where you there
files.
could be
Dr.
stuff.
Brenner sent him there to get stuff.
Yeah, excuse me, Jean-Claude Van Damme. Can you be a real peach and go beat up Hopper? He's a real kick in the pants.
He's a real piece of shit.
I'll be honest with you. I don't like him.
Robin cracks the code of the mall, which I picked up on what the phrases meant because they were very overt about it. But
Yeah.
it was like, wait, what? So
Trip to China would be nice. Should get some food. Huh? You know what I mean? Like,
at the 3 o'clock. 3 o'clock at the Chinese, between the Chinese restaurant and the bookstore or the shoe store,
I still don't know how the code was cracked. Why are you now on the roof outside looking in on like?
Yeah, I don't get
because no, that's when the packages were going to be delivered. Because it was when the hands came together.
Right, at a certain time.
At a certain time.
Sure,
And
but
blew
what does
in.
that have to do with the shoe store and the Chinese store? Like Outback.
That's the clock. That's where the clock is. If you're standing in the space where you can see all those things, you can see the blue and the yellow in the west.
Together.
Okay, so then
That was
how does
very
she know
Nancy
the
Drew.
location of the delivery?
Because the delivery truck's in the back of the mall, and they show that in the very first episode.
I guess.
Sam's on it. She called
I know.
this.
Every time I look over, she's just staring at her phone, and I'm like, she's not even watching. And then she comes up with shit like this every time.
I have to like play on my phone
She's
while I
a
watch
wizard.
things.
You're a wizard. It was a big stretch. It was one of those things where like, you know, the It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia meme when Charlie Day has like all the strings of like clues. He's like, I know this is the conspiracy room. Like,
He's in the mailroom and shit.
some of the things she put together was such a leap. Like, especially the one like tread softly in this area. It's like tread softly. Kaufman shoes. Got it.
There are tread on shoes.
Yeah.
And it's like Foot Locker's right over there.
Do you not know code words and code sentences?
Like
you have to read in between the lines.
Like what was the Chinese food one?
That one was pretty good.
That one
a
I
trip
felt
to China or something.
Yeah.
A trip to China would work because that is like
I was
the one.
immediately like, there's definitely a Chinese food store in that
Right.
mall. Like,
Yeah.
100%.
But
Panda Express.
tread softly. Kaufman shoes. Like I would not like. Well, there's shoes there, but
Andy's
that's not
joke was
close
funny.
enough.
There's a fucking Foot Locker too. Which one?
Yeah.
So then they're fucking douchebags to Nancy again, just to rub that home at the newspaper. She doubles down and decides to go get proof. They're going to go back to what's her name? The old lady's house.
Driscoll.
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 Old Driscoll.
Driscoll.
One of them goddamn O'Driscolls.
And then Joyce and Hop visit the hole. Is my note. I don't like that at all. But the old we're the old gaping
Hole.
gate to the upside down used to be in the lab. And then Hop has that speech with Joyce where he, you know, as much of a heart to heart as Hop can muster. And we find out that Joyce is trying to move. So that's cool. She's got her house up for sale and Hop's trying to stop her, right? Hop or the stopper. And cut back to the boys who can't find Will, and I have PTSD from this and I can't stand it.
Yeah.
Will!
Where's Will?
I just started weeping.
I wanted to ask Steve for a will call for this episode.
I should bring Will Cole back.
Yes.
That was an old
Sam,
episode where we counted how many times someone would yell "Will."
Oh, okay.
So, listeners, if you haven't noticed, Steve's wife, Sam, has never listened to our show.
Nope.
Of when,
She said that
She
so
never
proudly.
will.
Never will.
yeah, so they can't find Will, and I have PTSD. Will destroys Castle Byers. And then we cut back to where they were the place that Sam was alluding to earlier, the back of the shipment receiving center at the mall. They're spying on the Russians. Dustin and Steve have found them. What bothered me was when they get discovered, you know, it's childish the way that they get discovered, and that's fine. That's how Steve and Dustin are. But the way the camera pans out instantly to dude looking at him, it looked way too fucking close to be needing to use binoculars.
Yeah, dude.
I'm like, what the face? Like, literally right there. Like, huh? I'm like, why the fuck were they trading binoculars?
The guards are like, are these kids still staring at us?
Yeah.
How can you not see what's in the room?
I don't know.
Your eyes need to be checked.
I see you up there, children. Hello, what are you doing up there?
That's a very nice set of binoculars.
But also, did they not worry about anybody else walking by and thinking it's weird that these guys are holding like AK-47s
Right.
guarding a mall shipping?
It's a little unbelievable for sure.
New Jordans.
New Jordans.
Midnight, they're very nice.
They're nice.
These shoes.
What dog is this?
So Hop gets his ass whooped is my next note, which
Oh,
was
I
sad.
thought that already happened. My bad.
He got like 18 kidney punches.
His back is totally
I think that guy
broken.
broke his kneecap. There's that one shot where he like kicked him in the knees. His knee went sideways.
Yeah.
That was a subversion of expectations. He's usually the one-punch knockout guy in the
Right.
show.
I
and
kept waiting for him to
he's
turn
a
around and
punchy
punch him.
hop, you know what I mean?
He
And
swung
just-
one time and he missed.
He missed, yeah. He
Yeah,
got
if
his
he had
ass
connected-
handed to him.
It was brutal to watch because it was like,
He's like Derek Lewis, if you ever watch UFC. The dude, like, if he can hit you, he'll win, but usually he can't.
right. He got punched in the back 6 times. Then like he fought back, thrown on the table, 8 or 9 punches to the kidney. you know what I mean? Tries to
lot of
swing.
kidney shots.
Yeah, I was like, ow, that's my dude, man. You know, I hope that's not his liver because that's already shot.
Yeah.
First
Why
off.
are you hitting me in the kidney only?
I see how many pills you take. I'll punch you on the liver.
Hop, what happened? I got my ass kicked by Jean-Claude Van Damme.
He even rode a motorcycle away. Like, that dude was a badass. He's my new favorite character.
Where was she at? Stay right here.
I was playing with the magnets and I heard a commotion.
They still won't stick.
They still won't stay on the wall. We should call Scott.
It's Mr. Clark.
I lost all my coupons. Because the magnets hold them up back
Let me
in the
call
80s.
Donald for an advance.
Season 1 callback. I like what I did like about Will's arc, not just the nostalgia, death of childhood thing that I really identify with, but finally, when his willy's
What's his Willie doing?
his willy sense begins tingling, and he senses the vessel hydra again. It like zooms in on him, superhero style. And he like looks resolved.
Yeah, he, like,
we're gonna do
stands up
something
like all
about
badass.
it. Yeah, like he's back. And he wasn't like cowering or whatever, some bullshit Will shit. He's like, we got shit to do, boys. And this is where we're comfortable. And I really like that. I hope that Will can, sustain that throughout the rest of the season and like have some character arc shit, some action to do, not just be a victim. That's what I hope for Will. Sam, you look doubtful about that.
Oh, no. I agree. No victimville.
He still needs a partner in crime. I'm just saying.
He's done with his kid shit.
Yeah.
He tore down Fort Byers. He's time to go wreck some Thessal Hydra.
He just needs to get new friends.
He and Billy are going to become bros. He's going to show up with a tattoo next season and shit. You know what I mean?
A weird soul patch.
Drawn on.
Oh, there was that one flashback when he's right before Will tears down the fort, where they do a flashback to the opening scene with the boys in season 1, and it was startling how little they looked.
Yeah, you never notice watching them grow that, even though I've rewatched the seasons, that was much more stark.
Yeah.
As a flashback like that, like, holy shit, they're just little fetuses.
Especially between Noah Schnapp and Dustin. I can't remember the real actor's name.
Gatton Matarazzo.
Yeah. They look like the way Dustin and Noah look in season 1, it looks like their first evolution form if they were Pokemon. They look like big eyes, chubby cheeks, adorable, and then now they look like the weird Charmeleons and
I feel like Mike's the most awkward teenager
because he's
to me.
like super gangly and he has terrible hair and he's just a cunt.
Damn. Tell us how you really feel.
I did.
Mayor Klein's a fucking douchebag. We go to his house. Apparently Heather's dad is the mayor, right?
Trump's
No,
America.
that was a different guy. I think that guy was one of the people that worked in the newspaper.
Oh, was that the newspaper owner?
I think so. That definitely wasn't the mayor because that
I
was
thought that-
not the Princess Bride guy that was sitting in there.
I thought that was Mayor Trump. Oh, damn.
So Heather's dad is the newspaper owner?
Head of the
Potentially.
newspaper.
He kinda looks like him.
No, he is. You're right.
He's
It is.
definitely somebody that we're supposed to know, right?
He is it's the head of the newspaper.
Is that the guy
Okay.
that was like, that kind of gave Nancy false hope? Like,
Yeah.
this should be
a Nancy
a
Drew
book.
game or a book or whatever.
High five me, Boos.
Get out, dickless.
You have a daughter. Oh, but you talk to your wife like shit too.
Oh, yeah,
okay,
he
this
did.
this
Yeah, he
carries
definitely
on.
did.
This carries on. Okay.
Wife, why are you being such a dumbass with that wine?
So
Get the
then,
fuck out.
What are you doing, Janet, on the floor?
and then
Damn it,
Billy,
Janet.
That's not where the sink is.
The kitchen's the other way.
Right.
Sorry.
No, I'm trying to think of another sexism joke.
You don't have one?
No.
I'm surprised.
What you doing down there, menstruation cycle?
That was a stretch.
Let's sync up.
So what happened to the wife? Did she get drugged?
Yeah, they
Yeah,
had
by the
chloroform.
cookies.
I saw that. They poured that in her wine and then
think so.
chloroformed him manually.
Yeah.
Can you drink chloroform?
I don't know.
I mean, apparently
Probably
can
shouldn't.
Eat fertilizer. Yeah, that might happen.
It don't matter.
I assumed
O'Driscoll
it was
probably
the
does.
cookies because the daughter made those.
Eat my cookies.
Yeah.
Pretty much. One of us.
And
I'm
then
good.
Billy chloroforms the dad.
No, the daughter did.
No, Billy did, didn't he?
The daughter does.
The daughter
She's
took
right.
out douche dad. What
Billy
she
just
know
watches.
What?
Didn't she like stab
Probably
him
did.
with her heel at one point?
She did when she
did.
stepped on him.
That's
She was
pretty
like
hardcore.
spine stab.
Is
Wine
it-
bottle whack.
yeah, that wine bottle was like, fuck, that guy should be dead.
Chloroform
Which
choke.
I really appreciated that because most of the time in movies they use that candy glass and it like really
It doesn't look
it's
real.
like and you just pass out. But
it
I've
looks
seen,
neat exploding,
I used to run
but-
a bar and I watched the most horrifying thing I've ever seen. It was a drunk guy who had seen too many movies beating another guy with a beer bottle, and it never once broke.
Yeah.
Like he got extremely injured trying to break that beer bottle over the other guy's head. It
Were
was
there
just
like buddies trying to do it?
no, they were fighting, but he
yikes.
thought it was going to break probably like a Western and he was just going to be knocked out. But instead it was like, ding,
Clunk.
ding, ding. And he was like, stop it.
I hope that guy's in jail.
I mean, he's just some drunk frat idiot, you know what I mean? Like severely injuring somebody.
bro, get your beer
bottle, hit it over my head, let's break it.
That shit's like attempted murder.
No,
That-
for sure.
yeah.
But that's what I appreciated about that hit in the movie. It was like, it's like that. Because I remember Steve was like, fuck. But that's how it is. I've seen it. That's what
Yeah,
happens.
that looked painful. And then he just kind of like looks up like, I gotta get out of my house. Like, no, you should be dead.
He's definitely feeling the pain from old Billy. Yeah, and that's the end of the
It
episode.
wasn't Billy.
and Millie.
It was his
Billy
daughter.
and the daughter, but Billy turned the daughter, so ultimately it's Billy.
No, it was the daughter.
And they're
She
all
pulled her own weight.
They're all a hive mind.
She got the cookies. She did the stab heel, the chloroform choke, the wine whack.
Billy was just supervising. He was watching her do all the work.
Yeah.
She was
Sam's
Like the typical
Sam's
male.
right. Women are the true
it
evil.
can't be a man in the position of power the entire time. You know what I mean?
They did.
Oh no, he was just the supervisor.
You alluded to this
Dictating.
earlier, but when 11 and Max leave after they confront them, Villy, is that what we're calling
Villy
it? Evil
Millie.
Villy?
It's Billy.
Villy
Billy the
has
villain.
a recognition of finally figuring out who 11 is, and like flashes back to her closing the gate.
Yeah, so he sees her spying on him in the in-between, and like you can see like the little silhouette of 11 there, just to denote that he can actually physically see her. And then later you see him like realizing after she leaves the house that that was the girl that closed the gate. And so that's where I got the idea that are we supposed to understand that Villy, aka Billy, is the incarnation of the ancient monster itself who was shut down back then.
Ancient?
right?
You don't know its age.
Well, they said it's been here since I just watched season 2. You remember? I gotcha. Where they were like comparing it to the Mind Flayer in the book of Dungeons and Dragons shit.
Oh yeah, and they get everybody.
He's like, it's
in.
the best metaphor we have, and then they're like, it's an analogy. He's like, analogy, whatever. But it's a being so ancient, it doesn't even know what it is. And like, we're supposed to understand that that's the best thing we have to call it, right? So it's old, Steve, and it's been proven in the
We
show.
assume that
No, it's
old.
proven in the show.
It's just a game.
And then later he's like, how do you kill? Hop finally gets on board.
Hop gets into it.
He's like, all right, so how do we kill it? And he's like, we use zombies because zombies don't have brains. He's like, it's just a game, Hop. It's just a game. I don't know, I'm a kid.
I love that scene. That was a great scene.
Awesome. So that ends the recap. Okay, let's go to.
I have a general thought. I have a general thought. This kind of preludes what we talked, I think, last episode, where I was like, I'm not feeling this. I'm still not feeling this yet. Something about, and I believe it's the way that a lot of our favorite characters are portrayed so far this season. I'm so used to enjoying part of enjoying the show is like seeing the kids together, solving mysteries, and doing the thing. But this season, all the kids are, kind of assholes, and I don't really like spending time with them that much.
I think it's because teenagers suck, right?
Well, like I enjoy all the scenes with Dustin, Steve, and Robin.
If this
Like
show was
that.
accurate, it would just. They'd just be jerking off the whole time, not helping anything, and the adults would be like screwed, getting killed.
But it's weird that like Steve, this brand new character, Robin, and Dustin are facilitating the role that the main group would do for the previous seasons, and so less screen time is given to them.
Right.
And I'm just not feeling the whole, angsty like, oh, we gotta.
Because it's all going to come together
Yeah,
next
they're
episode.
gonna have
It's
to
gonna be a
overcome
big
I hope it
payoff.
will. I hope it will, because like this is the first time in Stranger Things where like I remember last season.
Last season had a bunch of this shit too.
Well, last season it was like slow to get the story kind of rolling, but I was still into it because I enjoyed the scenes with the kids. I was like, okay, this is fun. I mean, yeah, the story's kind of slow build, but like I'm enjoying the interactions, but I'm not enjoying the interactions that much this season so far. And I really hope it turned around, because even the scene with Hopper and Joyce when they're in Hawkins' lab and Hopper starts sitting down and giving her the heart to heart, I was kind of like, this kind of feels weird where it's at. It doesn't. It feels kind of forced at this moment. And then Joyce tries to say that Scott joke, and I'm like, that didn't really land. There's just, I don't know. The relationship.
Scott joke definitely didn't. That sounds like some shit I would say at the wrong moment.
Yeah,
With my
it just.
significant other. Like say, I was a Chris thing. For
I was
sure.
gonna say I would do this exact. I'd still do it.
I'm tentatively hesitant so
Like
far.
sometimes when my girlfriend's like, "What are you thinking about?" I'll be like, "I don't know, other girls and shit." And like, never once has it been funny, but I'll try it. You know what I mean? Like that's the kind of shit I do.
Maybe today's the day.
Dude, I feel the complete opposite. I've been loving it so far.
That's good. I'm happy.
Yeah.
I've been enjoying it too.
I think it's interesting that Jonathan and Nancy's story has not intersected with anybody yet.
Yeah.
I think that's different. He and Will haven't. They shared the screen for about a half a second when he walked by him with a lipstick mark on his cheek.
Post-coitus.
When their bro-ship was a huge arc before. Now it's just nothing, which I think is interesting. But I don't know. I've still been loving it.
I mean, you would be forgiven if you, like, for whatever reason, just jumped into Stranger Things now. You would be forgiven to not realize that Will and Jonathan are related.
Right.
Yeah, for sure. I think there's a huge payoff coming, and I feel the way that Steve feels, actually. You know, I was a little disappointed in, like, you know, because you build this up in your mind. I'm not like Game of Thrones Season 8 disappointed, but, like, I could see it in the distance. But this episode, it's the ball's rolling, and I really feel like 4, 5, and 6 are going to fucking ramp up and crazy, and then we're going to be very satisfied. And the reviews have been very positive on this whole season, as far as I could tell. So anyway, that brings us to our Easter Eggo section, where we try to find as many cultural waypoints or, you know, other intellectual properties from the 80s as we can possibly identify, or just make some up whenever we can't find
I
them.
literally have two.
What are they,
And
Andy?
not a good one. Karate Kid was a pretty obvious one.
Ralph Macchio. Okay.
And is he or is he not a good kisser? That's an interesting one. I didn't realize he was such a heartthrob in the 80s. He was like, I don't know.
The Karate Kid actor?
Yeah, yeah.
I didn't either.
Yeah. it was
Pony
weird.
Boy. Isn't it Pony Boy or Golden
Weird.
Boy?
Danielson?
Who?
Stay Gold Pony Boy. That's the same character. Ralph Macchio played
No.
in that movie, right?
Oh, Pony Boy from The Outsiders.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was a good movie.
Yeah,
Good
right?
pull.
S.E. Hinton.
And then I saw an Up magazine, which was a teen magazine. I think there's still some of those around our house.
Up. Okay. I've got one I'm really proud of. I'm just going to shout it before anyone steals it. The allusion to Stephen King property, Christine.
Yep.
Oh, was that the car?
The car
Yeah,
with the
trying to-
lights on. I was like, Steve, you think what I'm thinking? He's like, I think so.
I thought my head went to Cujo. I was like, no, that was a dog. I don't know what it's called.
That classic tale, Cujo, the car.
All right.
Steve, do you have an ego?
Yes. I mean, I think this ego kind of got desaturated as the episode went on, but in the very beginning of the episode, when it cuts to Ted mowing the lawn in his in the rain like an idiot, I immediately thought of it because he's wearing the yellow raincoat and
But
it's
then
raining.
11 killed it with the super yellow.
Well, then there
Or
was
it
like
Max?
4 or 5 people who were wearing yellow raincoats throughout the whole episode. But that, for whatever reason, that imagery of Ted in the yard with the yellow raincoat and it raining really was like, oh, that's like it, yeah. But like with a grown ass man instead of a little kid.
Ted is Georgie.
He's just
You'll
George now.
float too.
Cosmopolitan magazine was mentioned by Max. Sam, do you got an ego?
It might be a stretch, but isn't Red Dawn like an 80s movie?
It is.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Red Dawn
Oh,
vibes
fuck.
from the,
It's where Russia
The Russians.
Thing, yeah.
That's pretty.
That's a huge one,
Pretty
right?
dead on.
That is apt because the Russians are invading the mall,
I'm
the most
really-
American thing.
Yeah, I'm really proud of myself for thinking
That's
of
a
that.
damn good one, god damn it. Jitterbug.
What?
Anyone know what the gun shadow cock was from? And it's gotta be from-
Shadowcock? I didn't see
What?
a shadow. Andy just said Shadowcock.
When Hop is walking through the lab, and
and the
there's
shadow.
a big old shadow of his revolver and him cocking it.
I
don't
stretched
know.
it. I put Freddy Krueger.
I thought
for
like
that.
maybe it was like Maltese Falcon or something. Like
Maybe, but that wouldn't
be.
be 80s.
I just
Right, no,
love
it
the
was-
jazzercise.
I put Jazzercise down. I thought that was a Freddy Krueger reference because he does like the claws shadow wall thing a shitload in Freddy Krueger.
He does, but there is like, I mean, the gun being cocked with a shadow wall is also
That has to be
that is a thing. But I don't know exactly what that's from.
I keep wanting it to be Fletch, and it never is.
Fletch Lives, or what is it? Fletch Returns?
I don't remember.
What's the sequel to Fletch called?
Fletch again?
Fletch Harder. Chevy chases a dick.
Shit.
I've got 2 song egos.
Can I drop one?
Yes.
Wham.
Yeah. Wake
Nice.
me up before you go. Ladies
I'll be
love
honest
us, we're
with
like
you,
wham.
And I'm not going to lie to you, Steve. In true Chris fashion, I wrote down. What I fucking wrote down was Jackson 5.
Did you really? Did you really?
That's what the fuck I wrote down. And I just now Googled Jitterbug and didn't want to embarrass myself. But I'm going to be honest. Doesn't that sound like Little Black Michael Jackson to you?
The song isn't even called Jitterbug.
It's not. But if you Google Jitterbug song,
Yeah.
it's there because it's the first word.
Wake me up before you go. Is the name of the song by Wham.
Not Black Michael Jackson, as I thought.
Singing Jitterbug.
Anyway, what's the other song?
Ladies, the ladies love us. We're like Wham. Sorry. Any Flight of the Conchords fans?
I love
No.
Bye, bye, Miss American.
That was the other one by Don McLean.
Don McLean.
It is Don McLean. I
Yeah.
actually knew that one.
Dustin was wearing a Weird Al shirt.
Was he really?
He was.
Is that what that shirt was? I spent the entire episode trying to figure out what
Yeah,
that shirt
dude.
was, but I couldn't make it out.
Weird Al Yank. I didn't know he was that big in the 80s. I thought he was like our childhood, which I guess is pretty close to the 80s.
Actually, was he?
No,
Shit.
I think about it. So I have a really huge stretch because I mentioned Drop Dead Fred last time. When she's in the in-between and gets to that red door, and then there's the bathtub inside. But the red door just seemed like really reminiscent of something.
I think they do Red Door in Nightmare on Elm Street.
Is it Nightmare? Because Drop Dead Fred, the very end of the movie, gets really psychedelic.
The
When,
Red
like,
Room.
The evil mom and stuff. And you know what I'm talking about?
I haven't
It
seen it
becomes
since I
like
was
the
a kid.
monster and there's the staircase. And I really feel like there was like just a door at one point. And I know that there's like the house isolated on an island floating, but I think it might have been a door. Anyway, it's something. It's fucking something. I'm calling it.
It's something.
And then the ice where I shit my pants earlier. I don't know. I think it's a 90s film. I don't know. Universal Soldier. Do you guys ever see those action
I
movies?
did, yeah.
The soldiers have to stay cold to heal or some shit. And at one
Yeah.
point, he used to always get naked and lay in the bathtub with ice to like rejuvenate himself.
That was
As-
Jean-Claude Van Damme, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Him and Dolph Lundgren and shit.
Yeah.
So I think the ice might be a Universal Soldier reference.
Wasn't there a terrible sequel with Tom Berenger?
Yes. There's actually like a 4th Universal Soldier.
No shit.
There's a bunch of them.
Wow, I
It's
only
got
know there was 2 of them.
The straight-to-video releases were paying them pretty well on Universal Soldier, and I watched all of them.
I remember watching them when I was probably way too young to watch them, and thinking,
There
like, this is
are-
really violent.
There are Bloodsport sequels that are trash that I've seen a bunch of times.
Are you fucking kidding me?
Oh, yeah.
People in the know call it blurred.
One of my favorite
in the know.
awful accents in movies is from Bloodsport. I think it's Bloodsport, but it's like a flashback from Jean-Claude Van Damme's character, and it's like his kid is like breaking into someone's house, and they're like, "Let's make a deal," and the kid's like, "What kind of a deal?" It's like this awful, really bad lip reading. What kind of a deal?
The best kind. Now is our favorite segment, the chocolate pudding, where we enumerate our very favorite scenes, moments from the show, the episode. God damn it, I fucked that up. Anyway, our top 3 favorite moments. Andy, number 3.
Let's see. Number 3 would be the destroying of Castle Byers.
Okay.
I thought it was just really effective, and the flashbacks were, touching and also, kind of sad, and you feel for Will, and he has his moment of resolve at the end, and I don't know, I just thought it was really powerful.
Sam, you're number 3.
Changing
Ooh,
up.
that's gonna be hard because I'm not sure. I still enjoy all the mall scenes, so I think that the mall scenes with just Dustin and Steve and Robin.
Okay.
If you had like an anti-ego list, would it be seeing Miss O'Driscoll eating fertilizer?
Why why'd you have to bring that up?
She was going to town on that shit.
Yeah, she was.
Literally.
She looked like she was at a Ponderosa buffet.
Honestly, the scenes with Will and the newsroom scenes are like my least liked scenes.
Scenes with Will?
Will
The
in the
scenes
newsroom?
with not Will. I'm
Jaybird?
sorry, cunt Mike. Mike in the newsroom.
My cunt.
So any scene with Mike and any scene with the newsroom douchebags.
I'm just kind of like checked out.
Yeah, I get that.
Steve, what's your number 3?
So this was really hard, this episode, finding 3 moments that I really, really liked because nothing super stood out to me. I wrote down the O'Driscoll lady, crossed it out. But I settled on Will fighting with Mike. Specifically that scene shortly after they leave the basement and they go into the garage, and there's that really cool scene where they're fighting in the garage. You see the rain outside. I really liked that shot. I thought it looked pretty. And that was where the "just because you don't like boys" line comes out. That was a very whoa, that's a strong line from Stranger Things.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So I just liked the emotion in that one.
My number 3 is Lucas farting.
I like how we go from, you don't like boys, to Lucas farting.
I just thought that not just his fart, which was epic, but the whole idea of 11 having those powers while going through puberty and adolescence. I mean, it's a psychotic time in a young person's life, and her using that to spy on her, her boyfriend or whatever. I could see that. Can you imagine her in high school or something?
Right.
The things that she would do to a girl who was mean to her, or she caught making out with her boyfriend. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just force choking her through the stall in the bathroom.
Lots of girls' orange Fanta are going to explode in their face.
Shitload. It's almost not safe. Anyway, Andy, you're number 2.
She needs to die. Sorry.
Whoa.
Let's see. My number 2 is the Body Snatchers ending with Billy Manilli and Heather taking over the parents.
That was a cool little isolated horror film in itself.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay. Sam, you're number 2.
That was my number 2 as well.
Also, my number 2. For everything we said, it's unsettling actually to see Billy putting on the charm and I'm just a good old American person.
He's actually really good in this season.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's good. Really good. I'm really liking that actor with what he's doing.
And the girl that plays Heather is fucking killing it too.
Yeah, actually,
so much
you're right.
better. Would you like a cookie?
Yeah, it was very Get Out, you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
Jordan Peele type shit. It was good. It was fucking good. It's not on my list. It should have been. I regret it putting the fart on there. But
Mike's burp, number 2.
solid. Castle Byers' destruction is number 2, but really that whole thread of the destruction of the innocence of childhood and all that shit. I've talked about it ad nauseum. Andy, you're number 1.
My number 1 is the fake Russian jazzercise. Because I let it go on for so long. He's like, I isolate it. He was ready to sweat, ladies. And they're just supposed to stand like, oh my God.
I think Steve was liking some of what he was looking at.
Right.
Dustin was horrified.
Yeah, Dustin was very much horrified.
Because they followed him for so long and ran into people and hid behind trees and used the phone.
I am fine.
I am fine. How are you? And he's a fucking jazzercise teacher. It was so good. That was just great build up and comedic relief, subversion of expectations. Good shit.
I agree. Sam, your number 1 moment of this episode.
My favorite moment has been with Hopper and Joyce interacting. Specifically, the whole scene in the house and that whole dynamic. But I just really enjoyed their lines together.
Where he was like, oh, you're scared, Joyce. And he goes in the other room and, isn't that right, Joyce?
Yeah, she's not
Joyce?
even there.
Yeah, that's right. Joyce? Where the fuck is she?
Trying to get his little satisfying.
Sharon?
Steve, what is your number 1 moment?
My number 1 is just the whole sleepover with Max and 11, the spin the bottle thing. But even before they get to spin the bottle, it was just nice. Again, I eat that shit up when 11 is being just a young person kind of fitting into the mold of sleeping over and having a girlfriend, and that was nice and cute.
Does anyone else feel kind of bad, some kind of sadistic voyeur? I almost equally would just want to watch an entire multi-camera sitcom of these people having normal lives now, and I feel terrible that there's more supernatural awful shit. You know what I mean? Like I just want, like she's having a sleepover.
Just leave him alone.
Leave him alone.
Leave Brittany.
How many fucking people is gonna die?
I want to know what a normal business day for Joyce is. Like
Why
when she
do
gets
these
more than one
monsters
customer.
keep coming to fucking Indiana?
Right.
What's so special about Indiana?
Well, it's where the gate opened. I get it.
Russia.
Hoosiers?
Underneath them all.
Yeah,
Underneath
actually,
them all.
I'm curious to see what the end game for Russia is because they were
Mall
clearly
rats.
trying to open up their own portal in Russia, but now they've got a mall in Hawkins, and I'm curious to see like what that whole thing is about.
Maybe they're trying to create a gate from Russia to Hawkins
Because remember, there's also all those underground tunnels from last season.
to
Yeah.
infiltrate.
And that's how they're all connected.
They're trying to create a gate from Russia to America, Steve.
The portal.
You think?
They could.
Travel and
Underground
like
mall.
spread communism through the vagina of
Dig
the
into
upside
China.
down gate
The Goo Gate.
to birth communism to America, if you will.
Yeah.
The Goo Gate.
We just nearly need to birth communism into
You see-
American pigs.
It looked like vagina, so we get the birth
Out of the dark
analogy.
hole?
Yes.
Okay.
It's like gapy and gooey, like my mother.
Let's go bowling. Sorry, we keep doing this
Let's
accent. And I'm
go
thinking of
bowling.
Nico from Grand Theft Auto 4, or his cousin Roman. Sorry.
Yeah.
Hello, this is Roman. Let's go bowling. Big American titties. That's the other line. I remember that guy always yelling.
My number one is seeing Billy seeing 11. Not just specifically that, but
That's a good one.
the whole upside down sequence of when she was spying on Billy. I just think it's so well done. I mean, they've always done well with what's that movie that they stole that from?
Under the skin.
Under the skin.
Under the Skin. They've always done well with that, the in between area, but they've upped it a notch, and just the whole. And it's 11 wearing her like new garb that's all vibrant and colorful, and like the colorless void, and then Billy just has this.
Yeah, he's like, it's weird. It's so super cool the way they shot that because Billy's lit because he's in a dark room. So
Yeah.
he is like a lot of blue tones to like the coloring
Yes.
of him, but she's almost got like a spotlight on her. So she's shining with a lot of warm tones and
And it's
saturated
glowing
tones.
off the water on the floor, which is
Yeah.
rippling, and he's got this energy about him that. And Millie Bobby Brown always fucking kills it with just a look, and you can see like just the dread as soon as whenever she locates him, because she can sense the monster inside him, most likely as the cause of that. And I don't know, I just get a huge kick out of it. But when he just turns and looks at her, and then the way that they did almost like a what's it called, hologram, almost like a fading hologram of 11 in his vision, and I just really enjoyed. Never saw that come in, and it was really well represented. So that was my favorite. Anyway, that about wraps up chapter 3. Look forward to chapter 4 very soon. You can email us at streamingthingpod@gmail.com and let us know how you think the season's going, or if you've binged it, what you thought of it, and again, what you think of our show and where you might want us to go in the future. Please leave us a review on iTunes. We got a lot of Stranger Things what are they called, podcasts to compete with. We were actually like 12 at one point. Dropped down quite a bit because those other fucking douchebags started dropping more episodes or something.
Hacks. They're called hacks.
We're just coming out with it. We're just coming straight out with it. And Sam,
Yeah, I'm not
don't
a
you
fan.
dare listen to any of the other ones since you
Doc-
don't listen to ours.
Dr.
won't.
Brenner here. I'll say it. I'm not a fan of those other podcasts. Pardon my language, but they're doo-doo.
Thank you so much for listening. As always, my name is Chris.
I'm Andy.
I'm Steve.
And I'm Sam.
This has been Streaming Thing.
Happy motherfucking 4th of July.
America.
America. Fuck yeah.
Eagles coming in.
Save
Coming
the
to
fucking
save
day
the
here.
motherfucking
lick my butt and suck on my balls.
I love that song because it's like guns, fuck yeah, Republicans, fuck yeah, books. And there's this silence.
There's like a
What's the there's one of the guys like fuck yeah. Like, he's confused. Books.